Welcome to We've Got a Country to Save, brought to you by Freedom Chat. Freedom Chat has true end-to-end encryption, no storage of messages on the server, and no commercial use of user data. That way you can speak freely and message privately. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also thank Impactful Pictures, Old Glory Bank, and Patriot Mobile. Be sure to like and subscribe to our podcast. Make sure to follow or subscribe to my channel on whatever platform you are using, whether X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. Please patronize our sponsors so we can keep bringing you these incredible videos. And if you don't patronize our sponsors, well...
I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Stewardess, please, let me handle this.
I've got to get...
Calm down. Now get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you want it on the phone. Everything's going to be all right. Please.
Sister, please, I'll handle this.
I've got to get out of here. Out of here. Out of here. I've got to get out of here.
We know where you live. AI changes the word democracy to the word bureaucracy, which, after all, is what the Dems really mean.
If the Democrats fail, it might be the end of American bureaucracy.
Our bureaucracy really is in fundamental peril.
The foundations of American bureaucracy under attack.
They want to destroy our bureaucracy.
We are a bureaucracy in danger.
We're watching an election where people are on the ballot openly advocating the end of bureaucracy.
That's what Republicans are doing, attacking bureaucracy, attempting to destroy bureaucracy, and they're doing it with glee.
This is the end of bureaucracy in America.
When will America stop sleepwalking towards the end of bureaucracy?
Right. It's Democrats versus, as Bill Kristol says, the end of bureaucracy.
We are essentially, as Neil put it, one vote away from sort of the end of bureaucracy as we know it.
I think our bureaucracy and the stability of that bureaucracy is really the thing on the ballot and really so important.
Now to the big news of the week, of course, the president's speech before Congress. Was this touching or what?
We're joined tonight by a young man, Jason Hartley, who knows the weight of that call of duty. Jason's father, grandfather, and great-grandfather all wore the uniform. Jason tragically lost his dad, who was also a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy when he was just a boy, and now he wants to carry on the family legacy of service. Jason is a senior in high school, a 6-letter varsity athlete, a really good athlete, they say, a brilliant student with a 4.46, that's good, GPA. And his greatest dream is to attend the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. And Jason, that's a very big deal getting in. That's a hard one to get into. But I'm pleased to inform you that your application has been accepted. You will soon be joining the Corps of Cadets.
Mic drop.
Since taking office, my administration has launched the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history, and we quickly achieved the lowest numbers of illegal border crossers ever recorded. Thank you. The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation, we must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
What's the deal with Al Green?
L-O-V-E!
I started to write this song about you.
Hold up. No, not that Al Green. This Al Green.
Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record, 27-point swing, the most ever. Likewise, small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber. Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House. Mr. President, you continue.
Thank you.
Now, is it me, or does Representative Al Green resemble one of those Geico cavemen?
Seriously, we apologize. We had no idea you guys were still around.
Yeah, next time maybe do a little research.
Sir, what were you shouting to the president?
The president said he had a mandate. And I was making it clear to the president that he has no mandate to cut Medicaid. I have people who are very fearful. These are poor people, and they have only Medicaid in their lives when it comes to their health care. And I want him to know that his budget calls for deep cuts in Medicaid. He needs to save Medicaid, protect it. We need to raise the cap on Social Security. There's a possibility that it's going to be hurt. And we've got to protect Medicare. These are the safety net programs that people in my congressional district depend on. And this president seems to care less about them and more about the number of people that he can remove from the various programs that have been so helpful to so many people. It is the best way to get it across to a person who uses his incivility, against our civility. He is a person who has consistently been used incivility against civility.
Do you have no mandate? Is that what you said?
Well, look, I'm willing to suffer whatever punishment is available to me. I didn't say to anyone, don't punish me. I've said I'll accept the punishment, but it's worth it to let people know that there are some of us who are going to stand up against this president's desire to cut Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security.
So were you saying you have no mandate? Is that what you told him?
That's what he has no mandate to cut Medicaid. None.
Is the only punishment that you were kicked out, sir? Is there something?
I don't know. Whatever the punishment is, I'm not fighting the punishment. This is about the people who are being punished by virtue of losing their health care. This is the richest country in the world, and we have people who don't have good health care. we've got to do better. And now we're about to cut Medicaid, which is for poor people. Health care has become wealth care for many people, and we can't afford to let that happen.
Is that the only thing that you're protesting?
No, I have other things I'm protesting. And I'm also working on my articles of impeachment. This president is unfit. He should not hold the office. 34 felony convictions, 2 times impeached.
Sir, tell me one more time what you were shouting in the chamber.
That he has no mandate to cut Medicaid.
That's what you were saying over and
Yes.
over. Thank you, sir.
Yes. No mandate. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Thank you.
But.
The spending bill that passed last night aims to cut $2 trillion.
Right.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question. Okay? This will not be read my lips. It won't be read my lips anymore. We're not going to touch it. Now, we are going to look for fraud. I'm sure you're okay with that, like people that shouldn't be on, people that are illegal aliens and others, criminals in many cases, and that's with Social Security. We have a lot of people. You see that immediately when you see people that are 200 years old that are being sent checks for Social Security. Some of them are actually being sent checks, so we're tracing that down, and I have a feeling that Pam is going to do a very good job with that. But you have a lot of fraud. But no, we're not doing anything.
Now, just imagine if any Republican pulled a stunt like that during President Barack Obama's address to Congress. Dems, the media, plumbers in Bangladesh would yell, "Racism!" Remember this?
There are also those who claim that our reform efforts would ensure illegal immigrants. This, too, is false. The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally. It's not true. And one more misunderstanding I want to clear up. Under our plan, no federal dollars will be used to fund abortions, and federal conscience laws will remain in place. Now,
the congressman was promptly accused of racism, including from former President Jimmy Carter.
There is an inherent feeling among many people in this country that an African American ought not to be president and ought not to be given the same respect as if he were white. And this has permeated politics ever since I've been involved in it back in the 1960s. Not only in the South, but also in many places throughout the nation. And the outbursts that we see, the scatological language, the sign that I saw on television last night, we should bury Obama with Kennedy, for instance. And Obama is a Nazi. And Obama's picture with Hitler's mustache on it. Those kind of things are not just casual outcomes of a sincere debate over whether we should have a national program in healthcare or not. It's deeper than that. And I think that that's what has happened, unfortunately, in our country. I believe it's going to be self-correcting. And in the U.S. House of Representatives today, they condemned Joe Wilson for having made that kind of remark to the President of the United States.
So does Al Green's outburst, which was much more over the top than Congressman Wilson, does it make him a racist? Jimmy Carter was unavailable for comment.
So I'm very glad you raised the issue of race baiting, but let's be clear, as you're doing now, the race baiting came from Cheryl Underwood to Sharon Osbourne, and it's now coming from you. So now you can respond.
Cannot be racist, Pierre.
Now you can
Black
respond.
Women cannot be racist to white women. Are you kidding me?
Sorry?
That makes no sense.
Sorry?
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand that?
Oh, yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual
capacity
to understand that.
Oh, yes, they
That's
can.
very much
and you've been
impossible.
racist to me.
That's very much impossible.
You've been racist to me, a white man, by saying I'm a race baiter. Yeah.
How am I racist to you? I'm black. I can't be racist to you.
You call me a race baiter with no
You're
evidence.
Racist to me.
When have I been a race baiter?
You could be racist to me.
When have I been a race baiter?
But I'm a powerhouse.
Did you know that trillions of data records were exposed in 2024? From the AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile data breach that exposed the text records of over 100 million Americans, to the Change Healthcare data breach, or even more recently, a hacking group claims to have stolen every single American Social Security number. People are confused, concerned, and off about the invasion of privacy that's currently going on. And yet, despite these concerns, many people continue to use messaging apps that claim to be private and secure. But are they? These apps also track your location, time spent on the app, your activities within the app, your browser, phone type, carrier, and even other identifiers such as your financial information and political affiliation. Newsflash, if you're not being charged for an app, you are the product. Your data is being collected and used, often without your permission and in ways you might not even realize. Here to tell you more is advisor, board member, and renowned radio and TV host, Larry Elder.
Freedom Chat is a private social messenger that allows you to message who you want and subscribe to the channels you want, all in complete and total privacy. With true end-to-end encryption, soon to be quantum-safe encryption, no storage of messages on your servers, and absolutely no commercial use of user data. Your conversations and your data belong to you, not big tech, not governments, not malicious hackers. Is Freedom Chat, Tanner, easy to use? Am I good at tennis? You see, with Freedom Chat, you can edit, unsend, and self-destruct messages, share images, videos, or GIFs.
It's GIFs.
GIFs?
GIFs.
Really?
It's GIFs.
It's not GIFs?
No, it's GIFs.
When did they change it? Prevent screenshots and customize fonts and colors and enable dark mode, all from one user-friendly dashboard.
Our team is working incredibly hard to make our dreams a reality, and we want you to join us.
Don't watch from the sidelines. Invest in freedom, invest in your privacy, and be a part of history.
Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat.
Download the app today. GIFs?
GIFs.
Honestly?
GIFs.
GIFs?
GIFs.
What does it stand for? It stands for Americans have had enough of supporting companies that hate our values. Tired of compromise? So am I. It's time to switch to Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They are an example of putting the cause ahead of profits, and that's why I'm proud to partner with them. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage, giving you access to all 3 major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to without funding the left. When you switch over to Patriot Mobile, you're sending a message that you support the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the sanctity of life, and our military vets and our first responder heroes. Their 100% US-based customer service team makes it easy to switch, keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their team will help you find the best plan for your needs. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. That's patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use the offer code Larry. Join me and make that switch today. patriotmobile.com/Larry, patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. Back to President Trump's speech. You see, here's the problem.
This is my 5th such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way. So Democrats sitting before me, for just this one night, why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America? For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
No love for Laken Riley?
Last year, a brilliant 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Riley, the best in her class, admired by everybody, went out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia. That morning, Laken was viciously attacked, assaulted, beaten, brutalized, and horrifically murdered. Laken was stolen from us by a savage illegal alien gang member who was arrested while trespassing across Biden's open southern border and then set loose into the United States under the heartless policies of that failed administration. It was indeed a failed administration. He had then been arrested and released in a Democrat-run sanctuary city, a disaster, before ending the life of this beautiful young angel. With us this evening are Laken's beloved mother, Allison, and her sister, Lauren. Last year, I told Laken's grieving parents that we would ensure their daughter would not have died in vain. That's why the very first bill I signed into law as your 47th president mandates the detention of all dangerous criminal aliens who threaten public safety. It's a very strong, powerful act. It's called the Laken-Riley Act. So Allison and Lauren, America will never, ever forget our beautiful Laken Hope Riley.
By the way, the term CNN is illegal alien. Illegal alien.
As well as the mother and sister of Laken Riley, of course. She's the Georgia student who was murdered by an illegal immigrant as well as several other people who have stories of crime and illegal.
All together now, illegal alien, not illegal immigrant.
Illegal immigrant.
Well, you can say that.
You can? I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
Okay, Dems, how about some love for DJ Daniel? Who is DJ Daniel?
Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer. But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago. Since that time, DJ and his dad have been on a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer actually a number of times. The police love him, the police departments love him. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service. Thank you, DJ.
But no! I give you MSNBC Hee-Haw's Nicole Wallace.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
Not even some love about eliminating wasteful and stupid U.S. taxpayer-funded programs?
Just listen to some of the appalling waste we have already identified. $22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $60 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. $60 million. $8 million for making mice transgender. This is real. $32 million for a left-wing propaganda operation in Moldova. $10 million for male circumcision in Mozambique. $20 million for the Arab Sesame Street in the Middle East. It's a program. $20 million for a program. $1.9 billion to recently created Decarbonization of Homes Committee, headed up, and we know she's involved. Just at the last moment, the money was passed over by a woman named Stacey Abrams. Have you ever heard of her? A $3.5 million consulting contract for lavish fish monitoring. $1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. $14 million for social cohesion in Mali. $59 million for illegal alien hotel rooms in New York City. He's a real estate developer. He's done very well. $250,000 to increase vegan local climate action innovation in Zambia. $42 million for social and behavior change in Uganda. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia.
Asia's doing very well with learning. We know what we're doing. We should use it ourselves. Now, $101 million for DEI contracts at the Department of Education, the most ever paid, nothing even like it.
Okay, how about a little love for getting rid of the violent, criminal, illegal aliens?
Over the past 4 years, 21 million people poured into the United States. Many of them were murderers, human traffickers, gang members, and other criminals from the streets of dangerous cities all throughout the world. Because of Joe Biden's insane and very dangerous open border policies, they are now strongly embedded in our country, but we are getting them out and getting them out fast. And I want to thank Tom Homan and Christy. I want to thank you and Paul of Border Patrol. I want to thank you. What a job they've all done. Everybody, Border Patrol, ICE, law enforcement in general is incredible. We have to take care of our law enforcement. Have to.
Now, check this out. This dropped right before Trump's speech.
Oh no! It's a cultural divide. I'm gonna get it on the floor.
You really about to do it?
40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music.
You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
They get on it like that.
Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like fuck. Mustard on a beat, bro, deep boat, any rap. He a freak though, man down, call like Amber Lambs. Tell him breathe, let them boys to the cross, they walk around like thieves. What's up with these?
Honestly, that one and this one, pretty much a coin toss.
There is superstition, writings on the wall. There is superstition, ladders about to fall. 13-month-old baby, yeah. Broke my lucky glass.
And of course, there's no love for Trump saying he believes he was spared by God to make America great again, because there's no love for God.
Butler, Pennsylvania. Have you heard of it? I just happened to go there last July 13th for a rally. That was not pleasant. Gunfire rang out, and a sick and deranged assassin unloaded 8 bullets from his sniper's perch into a crowd of many thousands of people. My life was saved by a fraction of an inch, but some were not so lucky. I believe that my life was saved that day in Butler for a very good reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. I believe that.
As you well know, among Dems, God isn't all that popular. Remember this?
This summer, I was proud to serve this party as the Platform Drafting Committee Chair. As the Chair, I come before you today to discuss 2 important matters related to our party's national platform. As an ordained United Methodist minister, I am here to attest and affirm that our faith and belief in God is central to the American story and informs the values we've expressed in our party's platform. In addition, President Obama recognizes Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and our party's platform should as well. Mr. Chairman, I have submitted my amendment in writing, and I believe it is being projected on the screen for the delegates to see. I move adoption of the amendment as submitted and shown to the delegates.
A motion has been made. Is there a second? Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, the matter requires a 2/3 vote in the affirmative. All those delegates in favor say aye. All those delegates opposed say no. Let me do that again. All of those delegates in favor say aye. All those delegates opposed say no. I guess
them do what they're going to do. Rules.
I'll do that one more time. All those delegates in favor say aye. All those delegates opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 have voted in the affirmative. The motion is adopted, and the platform has been amended as shown on the screen. Thank you very much.
Here's the Democrats' problem. Trump has never been more popular, and Americans broadly support his agenda. Of the 11 policies a Harvard-Harris poll asked about, only one failed to get majority support, and that was renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. 81% support deporting illegal aliens, quote, who are here illegally and have committed crimes, end of quote. 76% support eliminating government fraud and waste. 76% support closing the border. 70% agree that hiring should be based on merit. 61% say tariffs should be reciprocal. 60% have a positive view of DOGE. And a New York Times poll found 79% support banning biological men from competing against women. Now, these polls were taken before Trump's Oval Office spat with Ukraine President Zelensky. Democrats and European leaders blasted Trump. But how do Americans feel about how Trump handled Zelensky in the Oval Office?
What are you seeing in terms of how Americans feel about Trump's handling of Russia's war against Ukraine?
Yeah, I think sometimes, Kate, we get a little too complicated in our questions. So I think the easiest way we can kind of just ask this is, do Americans like the way that Trump's handling his job and compare it to how they felt about Joe Biden? So this is the net approval rating. You look at Joe Biden back in 2024, he was 22 points underwater. Holy cow. You look at Donald Trump, it's just a different planet entirely. I mean, the gulf between these two is wider than the Gulf of America or Mexico, depending on which side of the aisle you stand on. He's at +2. So, look, at this particular point, Americans are giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. He's doing considerably better than Joe Biden was doing on the handling of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And so on this simple question, I think Americans are saying, okay, Donald Trump's doing all right on this.
What about specifically on how they feel about bringing the war to an end?
Yeah, okay. So, you know, look, questions on this can be quite complicated, but I think this kind of gets at sort of where the American trend line is. Americans on the Russia-Ukraine war want a quicker end of the war, but Russia keeps its captured land. Look at this, 50%, bare majority coming in here, support Ukraine's right to fight, even if it means a longer war. That's at 48. This is very, very close. But the trend line on this question is so important because that want a quick end of the war, look at this. You go back to August of 2022, it was at 31%. Now we're at 50%. I mean, that is a rocket ship upwards in terms of the Americans who want a quick end to the war, even if it means Russia keeps the captured Ukraine land. Americans are moving closer and closer to wanting a compromise, even if it means that Ukraine doesn't really get what it set out to want, at least at the beginning of this war.
By the way, I watched the Democrats' rebuttal to Trump's speech before Congress. Here's a summary.
President of the United States, President Obama, is the ex-president. And Mr. Trump, for the moment,
Why isn't your bank asking what's in your heart? When big banks cancel your account because they don't like your politics, or they share your transaction data with the government, it's no wonder they don't ask what's in your heart. That's not what they care about. Old Glory Bank is different. We're the pro-America online bank that protects your privacy, security, and liberty. Started by Dr. Ben Carson, Larry Elder, and John Rich, we proudly serve customers in all 50 states. Open your account in minutes at oldglorybank.com. We stand with you.
Eldorados, have you gone to LarryEldershop.com? LarryEldershop.com? No? You haven't picked up any We've Got a Country to Save merch? T-shirts, crew necks, hats, beanies? Then what, pray tell, are you wearing right now? Every item fuels our shared mission, which is we've got a country to save. And now is the perfect time to join the movement. Use promo code ELDER25, that's ELDER25 at checkout, and get 25% off your entire order, which is why we called it ELDER25. LarryEldershop.com right now. Gear up, save 25% today with Elder25 because we've got a country to save. After Putin invaded and took Crimea in 2014, President Obama said the Europeans are at a greater risk than we are. It's not our fight. How is his position any different than Trump's?
With respect to Mr. Romney's assertion that
Russia's our number one geopolitical foe. The truth of the matter is that America's got a whole lot of challenges. Russia is a regional power that is threatening some of its immediate neighbors, not out of strength, but out of weakness. Ukraine has been a country in which Russia had enormous influence for decades, since the breakup of the Soviet Union. We have considerable influence on our neighbors. We generally don't need to invade them in order to have a strong cooperative relationship with them. The fact that Russia felt compelled to go in militarily and lay bare these violations of international law indicates less influence, not more. And so my response then continues to be what I believe today, which is Russia's actions are a problem. They don't pose the number one national security threat to the United States. I continue to be much more concerned when it comes to our security with the prospect of a nuclear weapon going off in Manhattan.
And CNN's Jake Tapper admits that Europeans are funding both sides of the war.
Yeah, I actually saw a study from a European group that showed that Europeans were actually buying more Russian oil and gas than they were helping Ukraine in terms of the aid. So in some ways, the Europeans are funding both sides in this war.
Atta girl.
You don't care about this country, and that is unacceptable if you claim to be the president of the United States. So we are here. We are not going anywhere. We are going to continue to fight back, and we are going to continue to speak lies to his truth, to his stealing, and to his cheating. Thank you.
Say that one more time.
And we are going to continue to speak lies to his truth.
We choose truth over facts.
Now, I watched some of the Oscars, so you didn't have to.
Well, this week, our community lost a giant. And I lost a dear friend, Gene Hackman. I had the pleasure of working alongside Gene on two films, Unforgiven and Under Suspicion. And like everyone who's ever shared a scene with him, I learned he was a generous performer and a man whose gifts elevated everyone's work. He received 2 Oscars, but more importantly, he won the hearts of film lovers all over the world. Gene always said, I don't think about legacy. I just hope people remember me as someone who tried to do good work. So I think I speak for us all when I say, Gene, you'll be remembered for that and for so much more. Rest in peace, my friend.
Speaking of tough guy, Mr. Hackman, still think dads don't matter?
To a very common theme in this series, which is the departure of a parent and its effect on both the person and ultimately on the artist. How old were you when your father left?
Well, my dad left us when I was about 13, I guess.
Was it easy, hard?
No, it was tough. Yeah.
Tough. I've read that there was a sort of casual wave goodbye.
Yeah, I was down the street playing with some guys, and he drove by and kind of waved, and
that was it. But you saw him occasionally, presumably, huh? Were you close to your mother?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Did life change radically?
It's only been 65 years or so, you know.
It's not something that goes away easily, is it? Ever.
This is November 10th, 5 days after the election. I think we dodged a bullet.
Mr. President! Mr. President! What are you going to accomplish on Wednesday?
A 1, a 2, all together now.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The prices of groceries, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has done nothing. Goose eggs to lower prices. Instead, he's pardoned violent criminals who savagely beat police officers
on January 6th.
He's letting Elon Musk take a chainsaw to vital government programs and then, even worse, giving him access to Americans' most sensitive data. Social Security numbers, tax returns, health care bills. He's fired thousands of essential workers, people who help our veterans get their benefits, people fighting Ebola in Africa so it doesn't come here. He's frozen funding for vital programs that so many American families need. Cancer research, education funding, payments to family farmers, and so much worse. Why are they doing this? Trump, Musk, Doge are taking these vital services away from you for one reason only, so they can give tax breaks to their billionaires club. Their plan is awful, simply awful. Billionaires win, families lose. And that is the truth.
And that is the truth.
And that is the truth.
Oh, a wise guy, a head clunker, eh? I came from back. Get out of here. He didn't do it. And you did. Get out.
Now let's add some strings.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The prices of groceries, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has done nothing to lower costs for you. Instead, he's pardoned violent criminals, savagely beat police officers. He's letting Elon Musk take a chainsaw to vital government programs and then, even worse, giving him access to Americans' most sensitive data. Social Security numbers, tax returns, health care bills. He's fired thousands of essential workers, people who help our veterans get their benefits, people fighting Ebola in Africa so it doesn't come here. He's frozen funding for vital programs that so many American families need. Cancer research, education funding, payments to family farmers, and so much worse. Why are they doing this? Trump, Musk, Doge are taking these vital services away from you for one reason only, so they can give tax breaks to their billionaires club. Their plan is awful, simply awful. Billionaires win, families lose. And that is the truth.
And that is the truth.
And that is the truth.
And the rest of the orchestra.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
Why are they doing this? Trump their plan is awful. Simply awful. Billionaires win, families.
That is the truth.
And that is the truth.
And that is the truth.
And that is the truth.
Who's in charge here?
Claw's our master. Claw chooses who will go and who will stay.
This is ludicrous.
Breaking news, Doge cuts off Adam and Eve from their Social Security checks. And Doge promises to make Zelensky give the Reverend Al Sharpton his tracksuit back. Ever notice how sometimes you come across somebody you shouldn't have effed with?
Excuse me?
Sorry?
Yeah, I can smell that. Do you mind eating that somewhere else? I'm fasting.
That's not my concern.
Yeah, but I'm fasting though.
So why are you out?
What do you mean why am I out?
If you're fasting, you should be indoors.
Yeah, but
I'm eating my lunch and you come and disturb me.
Yeah,
What's for?
yeah, but I can smell it.
So what? It's food. Of course you're going to smell it.
Yeah, but can you not just wait until you like get
Please,
off the bus?
Don't tell me what to do. You're fasting, stay indoors and don't come and bother nobody on the bus.
No, but I'm just saying.
I'm eating my lunch.
Yeah, but
what's your problem?
Because you're right next to me and I can
Well,
smell
go
it.
downstairs.
Yep. Do you think you should have manners and not eat inside the
Go
bus? Then?
downstairs and leave me alone. It's my lunch.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm fasting and I can smell it.
That's your business. Stay indoors.
What do you mean stay indoors? I need to
When
go out
I
and see
fast,
stuff.
I don't go out. Stay
Okay.
indoors, read your Bible,
Okay.
and keep quiet.
Well, first of all, I don't read the Bible. Second of all, just because you stay inside when you're fasting doesn't mean I need to do that as well.
Well, you shouldn't be coming out here making trouble.
Ever notice how you come across somebody once in a while that you shouldn't have with? That's me.
And then there's Scott Jennings, who's almost making CNN watchable.
I think Donald Trump is doing an amazing job so far on the things that he ran on, immigration. The border is, just his taking office, the border is effectively shut down. The attitude change from the federal government effectively closed the border. Look at the people coming across now. Look at the encounters today versus what was going on with Biden. I think on March 4th, you're going to hear them talk a lot about the success on immigration. As it relates to Ukraine, look, Zelensky made a huge mistake on Friday. All he had to do was show up and sign this deal. And he just couldn't do it. And sometimes these guys, when they put on the military uniform, they have trouble taking it off. He needs to take off the military garb, put on the garb of diplomacy, and understand that he's got an honest new broker on the field who can actually help him end this war, maintain his sovereignty, maintain prosperity for the Ukrainians. And regarding Elon and the bureaucracy, if I just may respond to something you said about the bureaucracy, there seems to be, when Republicans are president, that this idea that the bureaucracy and the government should not be responsive to the political leadership of the executive branch. That is totally false. It has nothing to do with a loyalty test, but it does have to do with whether or not the unelected bureaucracy is responsive to the political oversight of the government. And Democrats right now do not seem to believe that the president should be able to be the president. We have elections for a reason in this country. We vest all executive authority in a president of the United States, not in an unelected bureaucracy, not in independent agencies, but in a president. The president's agenda matters. When a Republican is president, the bureaucracy resists. It has to stop.
That sounds more like a king. It does not sound like
Sounds like our
president of the
Constitution
United
to me. It's two parties, Dana. One wants bigger government, one wants smaller government. I think I'll take it to the midterms.
Almost.
Firing people who work on the bird flu or cutting funding to folks who work on the bird flu is going to increase egg prices. And by the way, a lot of places you can't even get eggs.
Really?
It's been a roller coaster of emotions. We just know that we have no control and we are just making the next best choice for our family and our farm.
The fallout felt at grocery stores, where shoppers are finding empty shelves and higher prices. The cost of a dozen eggs surging 65% from a year ago.
These eggs went up to $10, $9, $11. Like, what is going on in this world?
Since the outbreak started in 2022, the avian flu has impacted more than 135 million birds, and now a growing number of other species, including skunks, bears, and cats.
There have been more than 24 cases in cats since early December. How are cats contracting the bird flu?
One could be from a raw diet. One could be from if they're an indoor-outdoor cat and they're interacting with wildlife.
Health agencies now encouraging pet owners to keep cats inside. The FDA also calling for caution from pet food manufacturers, urging them to take processing steps such as heat treatment that are capable of inactivating viruses.
This is a very serious virus, and it's a very fast-acting disease.
Now, this strain of bird flu has not adapted to easily infect humans or spread among us. And the FDA pointing out that the chances of eggs from infected poultry actually hitting store shelves is low. Still, experts are urging families to always thoroughly and properly cook their eggs and breakfast.
Maybe eggs wouldn't be so expensive if liberals didn't waste so many.
Meanwhile, out in California, one of the reasons there's a recall is because people were so incensed with how Governor Gavin Newsom, he locked down everything. Larry Elder currently is the leading contender to take his job, although the polls do show, if you believe the polls, show that Newsom is slightly ahead. Yesterday, Larry Elder took his so-called recall express to Venice Beach, and what happened there was so astounding, we had to show you. So keep in mind, he's there, and there is a woman in a gorilla mask throwing an egg at him. She punched a guy who told her to stop. She yelled, "Take your hands off me, you..." Expletive. "Touch me again, touch me again." She then aimed a left hook at the man. Security guard then menaced another guy wearing all black before a second woman was slapped. By the way, the woman right there who slugged that guy with the left hook, she's on a smart bike. So while he was at a homeless encampment, obviously she was not from the homeless encampment because she's on a smart bike and she made a getaway.
Now, one final thing. I was the victim of an egg attack when I was in Venice Beach at a homeless encampment. Yeah, I was reminded someone wearing a gorilla mask threw an egg at me. Sir, how do you know it was a mask? Now I'm going to be accused of being sexist. I'm just making a little joke here, a little humor. But maybe she was one of the 20,000 people that was released early by Gavin Newsom. I don't know. And maybe she should have been behind bars, but she wasn't behind bars because we have cashless bail. I don't know. All I know, seriously, is that had that happened to somebody with a D at the end of his name who'd been black, oh my goodness, it would have been the lead story. There would have been a manhunt, international manhunt. They'd be talking about this in Bangladesh.
Missed it by that much.
We need the eggs. Wyatt.
Larry Elder here. For the past 18 months, I've been working with Impactful Pictures on an investigative documentary project called Electric Vehicles, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which digs deeply into the multifaceted revolution of electric vehicles, shedding light on not just the environmental promises, but also the challenges and the potential pitfalls of this rapidly growing industry. Now, this all started when I began hearing this business about net zero emissions and that gas-powered cars are a threat to the planet and that there's this big push for electric vehicles. I felt conflicted. I love my gas-powered car, but I don't like being told what to do, and I don't want the planet to be damaged. Now, I've been in talk radio for about 30 years, been in TV for about 40. I ran for office, I ran for governor, I ran for president. I'm a best-selling author and a New York Times bestseller. I've always been a truth seeker. So I decided to go on an investigative journey to find out the answer to the following question. Are electric vehicles really better for the planet than gas-powered cars? Now, many governments around the world have signed up for what's called a net zero emission pledge. But a majority of Americans, over 90%, are still driving gas-powered cars, and they are facing the tough choice of whether to switch to an EV or not. we need to get to the truth about EVs. Our team traveled all around the country and talked to many experts and scientists in the fields of cars, the environment, mining, national security, etc. We looked beyond the mainstream media coverage, uncovering the lesser-known aspects of electric vehicles, like the environmental and humanitarian impacts of mining for minerals essential for EV batteries. And what does the future hold for battery disposal and recycling? We also don't shy away from controversial topics, like the geopolitical tensions that arise from China's dominance in the EV industry and the mining industry, and the potential vulnerabilities of EVs, which could be prone to cyber attacks and excessive government control. This award-winning team of producer and director and crew at Impactful Pictures have done, in my opinion, an amazing job to uncover the truth. Impactful Pictures is an independent, non-profit film production company dedicated to creating family-friendly stories that entertain and inspire meaningful change for humanity. This is also an important documentary that needs to be seen by all Americans. And for production, we've done it all completely bootstrapped, having never taken one dime of outside funding to complete the project. Now, we need your help to raise money for marketing and promotion, enabling us to bring the truth about EVs to as many Americans as possible and help them make informed decisions on electric vehicles. This documentary is not just about cars, it's about the way we choose to shape our future. So visit our website, LarryEVFilm.com/join us to learn more and help spread the word about this film. Join us to become part of the truth-seeking movement and bring the truth to light. Thank you for all your support. Now, you did know that USAID has been funding terrorism, right?
Let me be clear. This is a problem that began under the Obama administration and was exacerbated under the Biden administration. It's a problem that has been brewing across both of these 12 years of governance by a bureaucracy so insulated it can't always tell teachers from terrorists. The result is moral confusion among grant officers who unwittingly, and in some cases, may intentionally bankroll extremist causes. At the Middle East Forum for the last 12 years, we've engaged in oversight over all public spending relating to foreign aid, specifically those relating to Middle East and Islamist causes. And we have identified over $122 million, which has ended up supporting radical organizations or even directly bankrolling organizations which are considered to be terrorists by the U.S. government. That's not pocket change. That's a jackpot for the wrong crowd. In terms of our specific findings, World Vision. Over the past 2 decades, this major evangelical NGO has received nearly $2 billion from USAID. But in 2014, World Vision facilitated a $125,000 grant to the Islamic Relief Agency, an entity linked to Al-Qaeda. Even after a whistleblower raised red flags, USAID rammed through the funding, pressured by World Vision, Sudanese warlords, and even U.S. officials who lobby to delist the terror organization. Helping Hand Relief and Development. In 2023, only 2 years ago, it received a $78,000 grant from USAID, despite openly working with the terrorists who orchestrated the 2008 Mumbai massacre in India. Worse, the offer and grant came after the USAID Inspector General launched an investigation into a prior grant to the same group. The Jamal Trust Bank in Lebanon. The USAID dollars helped pad the pockets of this financial institution, later designated by the U.S. Treasury Department as a terror sponsor for sponsoring Hezbollah. This was no mere oversight. It points to a broken system that handed cash to a future terror financing entity. Some graphical evidence. Behind me, you'll see the Bayadar and Unlimited Friends Association, 2 groups in Gaza. Members of the Gazan charity Bayadar cozy up to senior members of the Hamas Politburo, like Abdul Salam Haniyeh, the son of slaughtered Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh, credited as one of the planners of the October 7th attacks on Israel, which kill Israelis and American citizens. Meanwhile, UFA officials have called for their lands to be cleansed from the so-called, quote, impurity of the Jews. You'll see behind me 4 images which don't just show members of Bayadar and UFA associating with members of Hamas, but also USAID officials, employees of the U.S. government, receiving awards because of their cooperation with these 2 Hamas-linked entities. You even have a Facebook post from a few years ago, which is the USAID office in Jerusalem celebrating their relationship with a Hamas entity. I can't find anything more disgusting. And as the ranking member said, we're looking for evidence. This is not a conspiracy. This is a U.S. government communication. Lastly, masking the money trail. Billions of dollars in USAID grants are lumped under miscellaneous foreign awardees, making it impossible for Congress, the media, or the public to track who's really getting the funds. According to public testimony in another hearing in this Congress, a portion of this money has ended up in the hands of al-Qaeda affiliates in Syria. How does this happen? The oversight conducted by USAID is as weak as a house of cards in a windstorm, like handing out cash in a dark alley and hoping it doesn't buy trouble. USAID's vetting system is archaic, relying heavily on self-reported data with no real-time checks or teeth. Primary grantees are entrusted to vet their own subcontractors, even when those grantees themselves might sympathize with radical causes. In places like Gaza or Sudan, groups with blatant extremist affiliations slip through because the so-called gatekeepers have no incentive or even an ideological desire to shut them out. This isn't a glitch. It's a feature of a broken system. And here's the kicker. It's a problem caused by bureaucrats now threatening American interests at home and abroad. It's not just about fraud, waste, and abuse. This is a threat to American national security and potentially criminal, and this committee should take action to ensure that the Department of Justice acts on it and does everything in Congress's power to not just investigate, but refer criminal actions to the proper authorities. Thank you.
Mr. Roman, are you aware that we are sending $40 million a week to the Taliban?
Yes, sir.
Can you name other instances of foreign aid going to terrorist organizations?
We have assisted al-Shabaab in Somalia. There's been instances of the Khamsi network in Sudan, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Kataib al-Hezbollah, Hayat Tahrir al-Shams in Syria. Dozens of terror organizations have received indirect assistance from U.S. foreign aid. Let's use Gaza as our case study. $2.1 billion in American taxpayers' money to Gaza since October 7th when Hamas invaded southern Israel. USAID money was going in terms of an emergency use authorization to try to go to parties that USAID formerly had a relationship with in the Gaza Strip. They had to have been vetted by OFAC. They should have been vetted against the special designated terror list from the State Department and from other Treasury organizations. Waivers were granted because they said that there was an emergency use to have that money come in to Gaza, thereby jettisoning the usual typical screening procedures. As a result, 90% of aid that was going from the United States by way of its agents in Gaza ended up in Hamas-controlled areas. And this is ridiculous. Essentially, what the U.S. assistance to Gaza did was underwrite the ability for Hamas to survive until the ceasefire was just passed a few weeks ago.
Trump's establishment of DOJ represents a bold and legally defensible reformation of federal oversight, an agency that Obama had established. Let's talk health care insurance. This is not satire.
How can I help you?
So I think there's a mistake on the bill, but maybe you could help me out. We got a bill, and then we realized that you guys didn't have our insurance, so we sent you the insurance, and it looks like the bill went up.
It went up?
Yeah, the first bill we got without the insurance was $600, and then the second one was almost $1,300.
Okay. Yeah, so that the first invoice you received, that's a discount that you receive if you're uninsured. So you're not eligible for the discount since you are insured. And so the bill was $2,342.14. We billed your insurance. Your insurance only paid $1,078.85.
Can I go back to the discount without the insurance?
No, so you're insured, so you're not eligible for the discount.
If I go cancel my insurance, am I eligible for the discount?
No, sir, because we checked eligibility and you do have active coverage for data service.
Oh, I needed to cancel it before I got the service to get the discount.
You're only eligible for the discount if you're uninsured.
Okay, so I'll get cheaper health care if I'm uninsured?
If you're uninsured, you're eligible for the discount, correct?
Is this common? Like I pay for insurance and I end up paying more out of pocket because I pay for a premium? That's wild.
This is just a new law that started 2024, AB 716, and the law is if you receive a discount if you're uninsured.
Okay.
So when we first send a invoice to the patient, we bill them as if they're uninsured. If you're insured, unfortunately, you're not eligible for the discount.
Okay, so just if I have the incentives straight here, if I want to pay less for medical care, I should cancel my insurance if my daughter needs life-saving medical care?
I'm not sure. I don't know, sir. You should cancel your insurance. I'm just letting you know that discount's only for patients who are uninsured.
Okay, that is special. That is a special law. So there's no way to put that discount onto an insured person. Only the uninsured people get that.
Correct.
And this is not satire.
My wife and I own this pharmacy, and we're a cost-plus pharmacy, which means that we don't take insurance. We just charge the price of the medication plus $10. This medication is called imatinib, and it costs us $7 to buy. We add $10, so you're out the door, $17 with your cancer medication. When Medicare pays for this drug, however, it costs them $2,400. This drug was filled 250,000 times in 1 year for a total of $600 million. So why are they paying this much for that medication? Well, insurance companies pay a middleman, the pharmacy benefits manager. And that person decides how much that medication is going to cost. Will that medication be covered? All of those questions go through the pharmacy benefits manager. And this person doesn't get paid just a flat fee. They get paid a percentage. So their incentivization is to raise the cost of the medication. If every one of those scripts was filled at our pharmacy instead of through Medicare, it would have cost $4 million. That means that we are $596 million cheaper than the insurance. That's crazy.
Karine Jean-Pierre whines about her difficult job because she was the first. The first what? Black? Gay? First to have that kind of hairstyle? And by the way, what is a cooker pressure?
I mean, it's pretty high. You know, it's a cook. I mean, the job is already a cooker pressure. It's already incredibly difficult, and to be the first to add that on top of what a difficult job. Some people have said it's the hardest job in the White House. It's a hard job in whatever. People would say that to me.
Would you say that?
I would be like, yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you. It is. It was really hard. It was really difficult. And you're right. When you are the first, you don't want to be the last. It is something that the Vice President Harris would say, that her mom told her about not being the last. And you do. You have to overperform. You have to outperform. You have to be better than everybody before you because you don't want to be the last. You want people to see you doing the job and say, oh, yeah, okay, that we can see someone else who looks like you to be in that job. And so there is a lot of pressure. And I represent many communities, so you don't want to disappoint those communities. And I don't want to disappoint the president. I didn't want to do that. And so it is incredibly it's very much a lot of pressure.
And she whines about how Dems threw poor Biden overboard.
Personally, I think what was the toughest thing to see in the 3 weeks was there was a disconnect from me, what was happening with leadership in the Democratic Party and how it was truly, as my former colleague, communications director Ben LeBolt said, it was a firing squad. And I had never seen anything like it before. I'd never seen a party do that in the way that they did. And it was hurtful and sad to see that happening. A firing squad around a person who I believe was a true patriot, a person who I believe did everything that he can for this country, a person who I believe, as I mentioned before, has done more in in one term than most presidents had done in 2 terms, historical things. And I was shocked by what I was seeing.
And Karine, just to clarify, it's your other Democrats and Democratic leadership coming out against Biden.
Yep, I had never seen anything like that. That was, if you're asking me, the thing that I saw in those 3 weeks, that was shocking.
Now, why is the first black gay female press secretary complaining about the first black female major party presidential candidate? President Trump, as you know, survived 2 assassination attempts. Dr. Ben Carson tells this story about George Washington.
There was a story that I heard you speak, and I would love for you to share it with my audience. It was the story about George Washington.
The bulletproof president?
Yeah.
You know, George Washington was a courier for General Braddock, one of the English generals during the French and Indian War. All of the couriers were killed, and Washington had 2 horses shot from beneath him, and he had 4 bullet holes in his jacket, but no flesh wounds. He had bullet fragments in his hair, no flesh wounds. Many years later, he still hadn't become president yet, but he was back in the area, and one of the Indian chiefs who had been involved was elderly at that point, near death. He said to his braves, "Take me to see this man. I must see him before I die." And when they brought him in the presence of Washington, he said, "Sir, I'm an expert marksman, and I shot you 17 times. And my men shot you, and pretty soon I told them to stop wasting their bullets. And I just wanted to meet the man who was protected by the great presence above." That story used to be in all of our history books until it became politically incorrect.
Why was it politically incorrect?
God.
Finally, the great Eldersky throws out the first pitch at Dodger Stadium. Strike!
To do the honors, we welcome an LA native who is known as the Sage of South Central. He's a best-selling author and radio talk show host that can currently be heard Monday through Friday mornings from 9 a.m. until noon on 790 KABC. Please welcome Larry Elder.
Well, it's done.
Larry, let me have the ball. I'll get it signed. Okay. Good job, man. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Right in there. Good? Yeah. Thank you so much. It's good to meet you. We're going to be upstairs to get our stuff later. I'll come say hi. I'll come say hi. Okay. Nice pitch.
I say we great job. Thank you. For your people. All right, boys. Thank you. That was great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, man. Good, man. Very good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I had the honor of meeting and interviewing William Friedkin about his autobiography. He directed the amazing Gene Hackman in The French Connection. R.I.P. to both giants. Now this is a funny commercial.
How could you do this to me, Barry?
I'm over here, Bev.
Specsavers sponsors Emmerdale.
Dave, it isn't your baby.
That's your baby.
Specsavers sponsors Emmerdale.
Who's this fancy woman? Well, Barry?
Specsavers sponsors Emmerdale.
Who's this you're holding hands with, Barry?
It's you. Specsavers sponsors Emmerdale.
Buster's got off his lead. I can't find him anywhere.
Specsavers sponsors Emmerdale.
She's here all week. Tip the waitresses. 2 drink minimum. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the comedy stylings of Granny.
You're softer than a limp. How much did you pay?
For what?
That. How much could you pick up?
How much?
Yes.
A lot.
A lot? By the pound or
Like
anything?
600-700 pounds.
Oh, what was her name? Is that a protein bar in your pocket?
A protein?
Or are you excited to see me?
You called me. I was a little excited, but don't embarrass me.
You got more booty than a pirate. Oh my gosh.
You got access to it. Okay.
Wow! Seems like a bag of pudding. You've got more buns than a bakery. Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed We've Got a Country to Save, brought to you by Freedom Chat. Freedom Chat has true end-to-end encryption, no storage of messages on the server, and no commercial use of user data. That way you can speak freely and message privately. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also thank Impactful Pictures, Old Glory Bank, and Patriot Mobile. Be sure to like and subscribe to our podcast. Make sure to follow or subscribe to my channel on whatever platform you're using, whether X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. Please patronize our sponsors so we can keep bringing you these wonderful videos. And remember, we've got a country to save.
There's one more thing I got for you, a big hug.
Okay, good. That's very nice. Look at that family you got, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very nice. How are you? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. That was a big evening last night, right?